Welcome back to The Rustic Wife. I'm Alana. So I'm just down my basement. I'm about to go into my root cellar to collect some carrots for supper, and that made me think of a video that I actually filmed back in November that I didn't get edited, and that video is how we harvest our carrots and how we store them for winter. And I thought, since I have the video footage, I might as well just make that video now and put it out for you, and maybe it'll help you if you're thinking about ways that you can store your root vegetables this coming garden season. It is November 21st here in Ontario, growing zone 5B, and we are digging our carrots today. We've had a couple of hard frosts and a few skiffs of snow, but that's about it. You can see it's still green. And today we're getting the carrots out. We have a couple rows we planted too early, so some of them are really, really big. And the third row we planted, I believe, in August. We like to harvest them after a few cold snaps so that they're nice and sweet. So we're gonna pull these out, and then we will get to putting them into the root cellar, and we layer them in between layers of sand. Here's the carrots here. We did have the frost cover on them. This is the first row that we've dug out, and it's quite pitiful. It was the one that we planted in August, so I thought we had a better harvest from this little row. I mean, they're still nice. Some of them are, quite big and kind of short, so I'm not too sure what caused that. They didn't seem to root down in this soil. The soil is really nice and soft, so they didn't actually go down too far and taper. They just kind of stayed like stubby. These ones are quite a bit longer. These are the ones that we planted, what was it, May 24th? And they're really, really long. You can see this one right here. We've actually broken it off at the end, but they're really deep. So I took the tops off just so it was easier to dig them. So what we've had to do is dig down on either side of the carrots, just because they're so far down and our spade isn't that long, and we've been breaking them off. So this is what we've had to do, and this is what we've got so far. All right, we've finished digging them out of the soil. They turned out quite nice, actually. We did lose, I'd say, maybe 1/8 of the crop from some of them going rotten, because as I said, we left them in the ground for so long. But we grew a couple of different varieties here. You'll notice the difference between, say, this one. This one is Bolero versus this variety here. This one's called Sugar Snacks, and this is the long tapered one. Those are the two. Both beautiful, and they both taste excellent. Just different varieties. So what we're going to do is we're just going to load these up into those Rubbermaid containers at the end of the garden there, and I'm going to bring them in the house, and then I have to go get sand tomorrow, and we will pack them in the sand for the winter in our root cellar. So just before I pack these, just put them into the Rubbermaid containers, we're gonna carry those up to the house. But before I do that, I'm just gonna take each one and I'm gonna trim these tops to about 1/2 inch. There. And then that way I can just take them out of the Rubbermaid containers and pack them directly into the sand in the bins in the root cellar. So what we've done here is we have this bin that we made. There's slats in it, so we need to line it with plastic, and then we will put a layer of sand. Okay, I've got my first layer of carrots there. I put them like that. I have the flashlight here because it's hard to see in the dark here. And then we'll put another layer of sand over top, and we'll just keep putting the carrots in like that in layers until they're all covered in sand. So I also want to mention about the sand that we got. It's brick sand, and it's got some nice moisture to it, and it's nice and clean. And I picked this up last year and this year at a place called Vertical Horizons. And if you're in the local area, they're on Black School Road, and I'll leave a link below to their website if you're looking for a place to get some nice clean sand to store your vegetables in. So yeah, so this is what we do. And you can see they've got the rest of our stuff in storage here. Potatoes and some cabbage and a few of our onions left. Like I said before, our onion crop wasn't great, but we're still eating them, so that's great. So I'll just bring you along inside the root cellar here to dig the carrots, and I'm going to show you what they look like now. Alright, it's kind of dark back here, but you can see there's the sand, and it looks kind of dry on the top, but it's actually still quite moist. If it gets really dry, we can just spritz it with a water bottle, but if you look really close here, you can see some of the tops. You can see some of them have sprouted. That's kind of a good indication for me where to start digging. Now, the environment that root vegetables prefer is cold, not freezing, but cold and somewhat damp. Not wet or anything, but just with a little bit of moisture. So if you're going to use, some people use wood chips, some people use shredded newspaper. We use sand. If that dries out, you can always just spritz it with just a little bit of water, just to keep a bit of moisture in there. Now, depending on the weather outside, our root cellar usually stays around 6 degrees Celsius. I had the door open, so it crept up a little bit, but it's usually around 6 degrees. And that keeps our potatoes and our carrots for a very long time. So all I do, whenever I need to get carrots, I'm just going to turn the flashlight on so it's easy for you to see. Sometimes you can actually see one of the tops sprouting. There's one right there. So I know there's a carrot there. Just dig some up. Here's one. And they are beautiful. Here's another one. So you can see the tops. The tops will sprout a little bit, and sometimes these little roots come on the skin, but you can hear that it is perfectly firm and solid. It's not wilted at all. There's a couple. Let's grab another one here. Oh, this is a twisty one. So there you go. And it is February 27th, 28th, I think. And they still look just as good as when we pulled them up in November. And we have had carrots last us until I think May or June last year we did. So this has proven to be a really fabulous way for us to keep carrots all winter long. And even the small ones, here's a small one right here. Even the small ones are perfect. Move that there so you can see it. There. Just perfect. So this method is pretty effective, and I'm going to try it with beets this coming garden season. And I usually pickle my beets, but I like to have them fresh, so I'm going to try it with beets. And the carrots, they, like I just mentioned earlier, they last for months. So they're usually good for about 6 months, maybe 6 or 7 months even. So that's the way we do it, and I hope if you try it this year, you have just as much luck as we do. And I know this video is early since carrots aren't even in the ground in most places, but it's late from last year. Like I said, I had it filmed last year, but I just didn't get the video out, so thought I'd put it out now. So thanks for joining me down here in the root cellar. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you again next time.